All right, welcome back to the F3 Northeast Way Q Source podcast. I'm your host, Blake Anderson, Money Pit. Today with me in the house, I've got Sean Carter, Jay-Z. Jay-Z, thanks for coming back on the podcast.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you the invite, and I know I speak for all of us. We really appreciate you doing this, your commitment to this all year, and making sure that we get a chance to hear from you.
I was talking to Dowry, I think, at the Q Source table last week, and I was like, man, I don't know if I knew what I was signing up for. After about 25 or 30 weeks, I was like, oh my gosh, how am I going to keep this going? And then but I was too far into it to quit, right? So here we
Well,
are.
hey, and thank you for not doing it, and I know it's a struggle bringing everybody together. I think what you've done the last couple of weeks, where kind of got an open roundtable, that's been cool to see too. So, and
Well,
even
the
I
conversation's the easy
one of your
part.
books that you put out there from your favorite books
Yeah.
for Christmas. So I appreciate what you're doing, man.
Yeah, good. Well, the conversation's the easy part. The friendships that we have make it easy. It's the logistics of getting schedules to work out sometimes that's been a
Sure.
little challenging. Well,
Yeah.
this week we're in quadrant four, Q4.9. It's the second to last chapter of the whole book. And so just to give us context where we're at, if you're just kind of jumping in here late, you have four quadrants to this kind of first principles methodology of leadership. And so you get first got to get right as a person. You got to look yourself in the mirror. You got to get your crap together, right? Second, you begin to live right with this new understanding. And then you in quadrant three, we start to lead right. And there's some tactics about leadership. And quadrant four is leave right. It's about building teams that outlast you, leaving a legacy of leadership through training other people to become better leaders. And so now, quadrant four, we're talking about missionality. We talked about missionality earlier in the book when it was an individual basis, but now it's about missionality on a team. And I love the fact that Jay Z was willing to come on and volunteered for this chapter because this chapter is about putting mission in front of a team, and Dredd talks the difference between teams and communities, organizations, but teams exist to solve a problem. Teams have a mission. That's what makes them uniquely different. And those Jay Z is a few months into a launch of a whole new brand in business, still in the real estate field. And so the fact that he's willing to come on and share his journey about defining missionality in his team, recruiting new team members, putting that as an important thing, I think. Just his willingness to share that journey he's on is going to be some really rich to our conversation. So Jay Z, I guess first, how's it going launching this new thing? Maybe bring us up to speed of the journey that you're on with launching team and kind of defining mission for your team.
It's going good. It's been a fun challenge, and challenge stressing the word there. It's been great. As you know, Roscoe P. Rich is come on the team, which is exciting. We're kind of working towards getting him much more focused to the real estate world and trying to get him away from the hotel. But he's certainly needed there, and
Mhm.
it's been a nice little step, I think. Kind of stepping stone. We've got another girl who is also doing something similar. She's more on the admin world, so she's also kind of come over on the team and has been helping me out with a lot of things. But then also has a more full-time position for that role. So, just trying to get her caught up to speed, learning a lot of the training and things like that has been good and a challenge. We talk scheduling here, like that can be a challenge when you've got
Mhm.
other positions that you're more committed to, maybe more committed, or maybe just as committed to being on on a team like what we've got. So it's gone good. It's really exciting. I I have no regrets, which is a big thing to be able to say right now for that side of
Yeah.
it. So, we brought on a couple other people as well that are just under the Innovate
Mhm.
umbrella, which is fantastic as well. We had an event this past weekend, which went really well as well. So, I mean, again, very exciting for it, but we're all three of us actually are going today to Charlotte for to try to hone our craft and really focus on that. So, I feel like training is a continuing piece to this puzzle that for the past 20 plus years, I've had some incredible training. I've had some incredible team members and some just incredible leaders that have given me some direction along the way, which certainly helps to have that thing. So I'm trying to take all the good that I learned maybe leave some of the tougher stuff that I didn't necessarily agree with, but also then really focus on for all of us to get better and continue to make this thing, exciting and fun. Real estate's tough, you're in
Hmm.
this, there's so many things that can go right, and there's a lot of things that can go wrong, and there's a lot of things that can feel right, and it just doesn't always work. So that's where we're at. But it's
Nice.
so far going good, and so far so good.
Well,
I'm
thanks for the
certainly
update. So let's press this into missionality a little bit. So the first Socratic dread says, can a team prosper without a mission? Love to hear your thoughts on the importance of mission with a team. I know you've been on different teams throughout the years. You've probably seen things go well, things not go so well. We'd love to hear just kind of your thoughts as a founder, starting something new, the importance about having a mission that you're gearing your team towards and having, the history that you have on different teams.
so to answer the first question, can you exist or can you thrive
Hmm.
without a mission? I think no. I think there's no real hope if you don't have some sort of direction
Right.
and pretty
Not long
defined.
term, at least.
No,
Yeah.
right. I mean, you've got to know your role, you've got to understand it, you've got to stay in your lane, and you really need to be able to go ahead and put the team first, right? And I mean, it's easy for me to say that when I'm a team leader, if you will, but I really do, being on the other side at times too, you've got to just really know that here's what we're trying to get to. And if we can get here, everything else goes a lot easier, right? And if it's the mission and the mission's defined, it's clear, we know what we're supposed to all be doing, it makes it that much easier. So I don't think that there's any real hope if we don't have some sort of mission laid out there.
So Dredd says, if we're defining our mission, he kind of gives a pretty simple formula to do so, and he uses the F3 mission to share that. It said first you pick a problem, like what is the problem that you feel like you need to solve, and then you'd identify your purpose, which is kind of like your response to that problem, right? So I have this problem that we want to solve, and our purpose is what we want to see happen in response to it. And then we choose a task, which is like the how we're going to do it. So F3 saw a problem with the lack of leadership in the community, right? And so its purpose is it wants to invigorate male community leadership, and it chose the task of launching small workout groups, creating workout communities to do that. So that is how it's defined its mission through its problem, its purpose, and its task. And I feel like as easy as that sounds, sometimes it's not as easy to always define purpose of an organization. I don't know if you're experiencing that now as you're wrestling with it. I feel like we're drawn to like emotional feelings about what we want and rah rah, but then over time that it's got to start to define itself or it gets kind of nebulous and people fade apart. I feel like I was on a team years ago and it had a visionary director who knew how to get people like emotionally excited, but
Okay.
he was able to recruit all these really talented people, but the team never went anywhere
All
because he
right.
couldn't define the mission enough for people to like hone in on what they were doing and like ground their work into what we were trying to accomplish. And so we had all these talented people with their own side projects and pet projects
Sure.
that weren't even advancing the mission. So anyways, love to get your take on, forming mission, defining it, getting people excited about it.
Well, that's exactly right. I've been there too. I've been on those teams where, yeah, it's great to say, yeah, we can all do this together. Let's work. Let's all focus on the common goal. But if there's not really defined reasons for that, or well, not only reasons, but what that goal looks like, is that
Hmm.
goal
Yeah.
a certain task that we're working to, and again, everybody's got their own personal space that they work in, right? So with mine being in real estate, like, is the goal a transactional number, is it a volume number, or is it just is it just contacts, right? So like those are the things that I got to figure out, and it's ever changing, I think.
Mhm.
While I say like we really need to know what these numbers look like or what this is, as we see changes needed, we're going to make those changes. And the goal is to not drag this out, is to make that change quick, right? So that's really what I want to, I think, focus on, is that if we can make some changes, and the changes are for the betterment of everyone, we do that and we communicate that. And that's the part of this chapter that he talks through is like it's a clear message and it's
Hmm.
communicated really well
Yeah.
and regularly.
Yeah.
You're hammering it home, which
Hmm.
isn't necessarily always my style either. But I understand, and this has been a nice, I guess, kind of wake up call too, is like, what is it that we're needing? I can contact somebody 5 times in a week, we'll say, just in 1 week, and maybe not hear back. Like, hey, is there anything we need? Hey, did you do this? If I'm not hearing back enough, then I need to really kind of focus on what it is. How am I communicating to that? And if I'm not communicating to that person, we'll say, then what am I doing wrong and how do I need to fix that? Right. So
Yeah.
it is ever changing for me and it's been a learning experience, no question.
I feel like I think the challenge that I'm hearing, and I'm just kind of thinking through with this chapter, is I think I need to start seeing the mission as almost a tool in my hand as a leader. It's really easy for me to know what I want to do, but I
Hmm.
need to think of the mission as a way to make sure that the people on my team are doing what I want them to do, even when I'm not there to direct their path. I think that's really what the mission has the ability to do is provide a North Star, kind of a compass,
Yeah.
so that it's everyone's really clear what we're doing here, and they're always weighing their activity against this plumb line North Star of the mission. And if I
Yeah.
don't have that clearly defined, then I'm vulnerable of someone on my team kind of going astray or maybe even taking the team astray when I could
Yeah.
solve that by saying, hey, this mission is going to be our tool. This is what's going to keep everybody moving in the same direction so that I don't have to be watching over them every minute of the day.
Right. Well, hey, that what is so again, when we look at that, what does that look like? Does that look like the mission is here's the end result is every day we do this for the all 5 days of the week, right? And then if you've got to work on week, there's a lot to that. And I love that because that is something like the North Star, right? Because that's not something that you think of as if you're not there, that nobody's doing any work.
What are they
That,
doing, right?
somebody gives some sort of
But I
direction.
think
Nobody,
if people have real firm agreement with the mission, I would want them in a moment of like, how should I handle this situation? Instead of them calling me, them saying, well, our mission is to do this. Oh, I know exactly what to do now. Right? Like the mission kind
Mhm.
of provides the guidance that
Yes.
maybe prevents the phone call. And I would want, if whether you're responding to an email, answering the phone, making a cold call, representing us, when in
Right.
doubt, what would the mission inform you to do right now?
Right. Because in your world, being, building, right? If somebody just is like, well, I don't know what to do, I'll just stop. That
Yeah,
that could
right.
lead
Oh boy, I can't do that.
it's being, like now inspectors come out, the house, they're not done, things are already like that's a
But here's
terrible
the
setup.
here's the other danger, right? So they could even someone could stop where they're at, not good. Or I love this quote. There's nothing worse than running enthusiastically in the wrong direction. Right? And
Very true.
that's it, right? Like if we don't if we're not all like clear about where we're headed, then someone's going to
Yeah.
get super excited and go the wrong way. And now you're like,
Right.
"Oh my gosh, that's probably even worse."
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, that's worse than not picking up the phone or calling. There was
Yeah.
something that I took from um, some training a long time ago, which I feel like is kind of to this point is how to win with me. All right. So
Oh.
what is it when you're like, what to win with me? It's
Mm-hmm.
try to figure out the problem first,
Mm-hmm.
research it, and then call me, right? Look through our mission, our objectives.
Mm-hmm.
That's number one.
Mm-hmm.
Figure out the problem and how to fix that before you and again, I don't mind being contacted. That's not the
Yeah,
point.
sure. No, right.
That on the fly, there's a decision to be made. What is that decision? And make it. And I will always back that person. I mean,
Yeah.
this is I will, and I say this to a lot of folks on the team, I'll always fall on the sword. If you make a decision and it
Right.
doesn't come across the right way, and somebody's contacting me like, hey, this doesn't make sense. Why are we doing it this way? But I'll be like, hey, it's my fault. I told them the wrong thing. Like I'll always take that
I'm
leadership
with
role
you.
because that's what we're supposed to do and say, my fault.
Especially
Like,
if
don't,
you're doing it for the right reason. Even if it ends up being wrong, but if you're doing it for the right reason, let's go. I
I'll
got your
go to
back,
bat for
right?
you.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. Yeah. I'll always stand behind you. And so that's the thing. And on the other side, if they just either check out, don't make any decisions, or run
Right.
the wrong way.
Right.
Yeah. Now it's like, okay, I gotta fall out. Now it's almost, how's that going to affect us all long term for
Yeah.
this particular situation? Sometimes it's a client who's like, I don't want to do that, or I don't want to do this. I mean, I've got vendors that I recommend. I get calls and they're like, this guy's an idiot, or this person doesn't know what they're talking about. And it's all trying to learn who do I want to be putting in front of my clients and my family and my friends that is doing the right thing. And if there's somebody who's just a bad egg out there, then we need to get them off our list and start moving to somebody else and finding
Yeah.
them. I mean,
Totally.
that's the po-
I
yeah,
think, if I can give any kind of tactical step process here, I would take last week's concept. Accountability team was really about having standards that
yeah,
are communicated in a way that everybody lives up to, and then missionality. And so I would say, um, if everyone on your team knows exactly what we're trying to accomplish, the mission, and they know
mhm,
the standard in which we're going to accomplish it, probably that solves about 90% of our problems.
yes,
Really. You know what I'm saying?
mhm,
And then the last 10%, let's have a special meeting on. But really, most of the things we bump up against, if we can clearly define as leaders the mission we're trying to accomplish and the standard in which we do it, most people can solve that problem with those couple key pieces of information. And so I
yeah,
just want to tie up this chapter. We're running really, really short on time.
right,
Dredd says they have headwinds and side winds. And a side wind is as bad as a headwind. And he's talking about golf. You're hitting your ball into a headwind or a side wind. Either way, they're blowing you off course. But the side wind is the sneaky one, right? It's the distraction that wants to blow you off of course. And I think when you don't know what your goal is, when there's not a firm mission, you're much more susceptible to the side wind versus
right,
when you know where you're going, then that you know how to prevent those side winds from blowing you off track.
absolutely. No, I totally agree, and that is a big part, is like avoiding being blown the wrong way, because again, the distractions, the everything that gets in the way can long term affect a
Yeah,
business, and that's the problem here. So yeah, I definitely agree. I think that's a strong, valid point there at the end.
cool. Well, Jay-Z, I really appreciate you coming on. Not necessarily as someone saying I've got a 20-year company, but someone saying, "Hey, I'm launching something new and this is what we're journeying through." And this is an important part of putting our team together and bringing people together. And I appreciate you allowing me to work some stuff out personally during this conversation as well. So,
Absolutely,
Pax,
yeah, and same to you, man. Again, if there's anything I can um, ever help anyone with, please let me know. But for you, man, thank you again. We really, really appreciate everything you've done for our group. And if there's anything we can do for you, let us know.
all right. Well, Pax, thanks for joining us for another episode of the Q Sports Podcast. One chapter left. Jay-Z, thanks for being my guest today. We'll see you this week
Yes,
at the
sir.
Q Source table.
Thanks, man. Appreciate you. See you, buddy.
Okay. We're about to run. Okay, good.